Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. Life can be a little bit miserable, life can be dark, so we're here to bring you a little bit of light and hopefully plenty of joy. I'm joined by Stu, as usual, and again, I'm Bradley. How you doing, Stu?
I am pretty good, yeah. I'm feeling a tad guilty for having disturbed your afternoon to bring you into the podcast on short notice, so I should have my bottom spanked for that, but I'm sure you'll enjoy doing that, so, you know.
It's not that sort of podcast, Stu.
No, we'll just do that off air.
Blue Nights.
Yay, you got it.
No, it's fine. I kind of slept the afternoon away. Because I didn't mention it all last week. I can't remember if we spoke about it last week. But yeah, I had a bit of a relapse with my eye a couple of weeks ago, and it's just gradually improving again. But I'm having afternoons where I can't do much. So I'm just laying there and napping like a cat.
Yeah.
So it makes me wish I was a cat because they've got the best life.
They really have. Yeah, they've got us completely suckered in, haven't they? And just...
Yes.
Yeah, they are our gods.
They really are. You can see where the Egyptians get it from.
You really can, yeah. It's no coincidence, this, you know.
No. And I say it is really good. It is like, you will feed me and I will make you feel bad if you don't, and I will hate you at times. But if I really do need something, I can make you love me. It's like being in an abusive relationship, except like they're cats.
Totally.
I'm on to them. Especially Zagreus. I mean, I can't believe I've got a cat named after a character from the Lord of the Underworld. So there you go.
From the game Hades. Yeah.
It is from the game Hades, yes. I've always wanted a cat named after a video game character, and I didn't want to go Zelda or Link or anything like that.
It's a good choice. It's a good choice.
Yeah,
I like it.
I don't think you can call a black and white cat Pac-Man either.
No, but that is a good name.
It is, isn't it? I might have to get a yellow cat. But no, if you get a yellow cat, you'd have to call it Pikachu. So
true.
You need to find. You've got to find a snapping turtle. You can call that Pac-Man. Don't paint it yellow.
Yeah, or don't get a hedgehog and paint it blue. That would be fun.
I mean, yeah, you're saying don't, but all I'm hearing is go on.
I know. That's kind of what I'm saying, actually. Yeah, that's what people should do.
Yeah. But get a hedgehog and paint it blue.
Yeah.
Don't find a little fat Italian man and put red overalls on him, though. That's probably taking it too far. It's kidnap. You can't do that.
True. It will not fly. No.
I wonder, Stu, if you got a little red Italian fat man with a moustache. I wonder. I do wonder.
Well, this place doesn't have a basement, but we do have like a shed out back. So yeah, it's a possibility.
Talking of wonder. I feel a segue coming on.
Can feel it in my water.
I can feel it. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Is that the one? I don't know.
That is.
Do you know what else has a wonder in it?
What's that?
A video game, Stu. Do you know what video game might have a wonder in it? A little fat Italian man.
What's that?
Is he not? He's not Italian, is he? He's New York now. I don't know. No, he's still Italian in the games. That'll be video games, Stu.
Hey, there we are.
That took a long while.
It did.
Still not as long as last week's. Elongated.
10 minutes.
But yeah. Anyway, video games, Stu.
Yeah.
What have you been playing? You start off with one because I've got two quick ones to go through. So let's start with you. We'll treat the audience.
Oh, nice.
Let's treat the audience. Yeah. What have you been playing, Stu?
Well, I've been playing, and I have played and completed a game called Sprawl on Steam, which is it calls itself a kind of retro shooter, but it's not really apart from the visuals. So it's a first-person shooter, and it's visually in the style of like PS1. A lot of things are coming out that look like PS1 games, like Signalis and things like that.
Because that's old now.
It is very old. It's like 28 years, so that's a long time. But so it's got a really, really nice aesthetic, which we'll come to obviously. But yeah, gameplay-wise, it's a mix of like, a regular kind of shooter, kind of boomer shooter, kind of retro shooter, but more modern because it's got elements of like Fear and Ghost Runner and Mirror's Edge style wall running.
You had me at Fear. Yeah. You had me at Fear. Let's go. Stu.
Yeah.
Come on.
So it's got the
carry on.
So it's got the wall running from like Mirror's Edge Ghost Runner, parkour type thing, and it's got the slow-mo that you would see in like Max Payne and Fear and stuff like that. And it's visually, it's like a cyberpunky dystopia kind of thing. Really good style visually. It's kind of, there's like there's 4 levels of retro you can pick in the visuals, and you can go from like a kind of more of a hint of the PlayStation aesthetic, like right through to it looking like a blocky pile of kind of, jank from the mid-90s. Works fantastically well. Really, really stripped back, kind of great, like draw distance. It's not demanding. It's easy 60 frames on the Steam Deck, but with a really nice style. I mean, it steals all of its, it's in inverted commas, like inspired by lots of things, so like every kind of sci-fi cyberpunk dystopia ever, with like bits of Syndicate in there, bits of Killzone, bits of
I like that his key art on the Steam's kind of got like that Metal Gear Solid aesthetic to it as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. They're all like that, yeah. But yeah, it's one of the best games I've played this year. It's a fantastic shooter. It's just really, really sharp, precise. The controls are magnificent. They just work perfectly. Take a while to get used to, as all these things with a bit of complexity do. But when you get into the zone with it, you're pulling off some amazing stuff, and it's making you look really good, even though you're just doing a few button presses. Really very, very satisfying. Great difficulty levels, so it can adapt to everybody. Really great kind of gameplay accessibility settings as well, in terms of like auto aim and field of view and things like that. It's just a really, really good game. I was like quite surprised. I bought it because it looked pretty, and I like that kind of a wall runny thing. I'm desperate for Ghost Runner 2 to come out next week, but I'm really, really surprised. Genuinely, happily surprised by it. Very good game. Highly recommended.
It looks really. I see what you mean by it's like it's got the PS1 aesthetics, but it's kind of but it's a modern game. It's got like the draw distances in the trailers look really good. The movement looks modern and super smooth. I'm really liking the look of this, and I'm like, I was honestly, I don't. We focus a lot on prices, but I think we're at an era where we kind of have to now, especially with a lot of AAA games being 70 quid. Yes. 13 quid, Stu.
Yes. And I got it on sale for $8.95, which is even more ridiculous. A tenth of a AAA gaming price, and much higher on my list of the year than any AAA game. Well, I haven't played the Mario game yet, but yes.
Yeah. And it looks very, to me, it looks like a Titanfall 2-ish as well in areas, like the single player of Titanfall 2.
Yes.
Which is really kind of, it looks so good, and I'm hoping I've added it to my wish list, put it that way. What I'm hoping I can see with this is the characters or the enemies you see look fairly easy to see as you're running about in the trailers. So I'm hoping that's something that transfers across as you're playing, because that is still, with a lot of FPSs, is my biggest issue. I just can't see what I should be aiming at, and this looks pretty decent for that in the trailers.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not sure if there's any like direct accessibility settings. I'll have a look, but they do. The human enemies do have like glowing eyes, which really helps. Some of the robot enemies aren't as easy to spot, but I think you'll get used to it, hopefully. Set the FOV to quite wide so that things aren't zipping in and out of your peripheral vision as much, and you might be able to get away with it.
Yeah, no, I've added it to my wish list. I'll pick that up next time it's on sale and when my eyes are a little bit better as a treat. Before it looks fast enough that it'll make me go blind again, but nice and dark with hints of colour. Yeah, this is right up my street, Stu. Yeah. But I'm glad to hear that it sounds good and it plays good and you're getting a fun time out of it. So yeah, you've got them a sale there.
Nice, good. They deserve it.
And if they get a sequel, maybe we'll get a nice little kickback on a code or two.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I think what we're saying, I've not even played it, but yes, sequel, make a sequel down the line. it'll be bought. They came out last month, 2 months ago as well. That's
yeah, really recent.
Impressive. I like it when we can find stuff like that that's not like completely under the radar, but is not maybe got the attention it deserves, and we can maybe bring a bit of attention to it. Like looks right up there. So yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm really hoping it. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't get a release across all the consoles, because even the Switch could have run it without any problems. So fingers crossed it's coming.
Switch.
Yeah.
This is where we are with PC now. Yeah. Even the Switch can run this.
Yup.
Ugh, it makes you wonder, don't it? I feel like we're building to something. People are going to be left very disappointed.
They really are.
This week.
Oh, they are, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. I've not been playing a retro-inspired FPS. I've been playing a train building game. There's a shock. Nothing says neurodivergence than trains. So, yeah, I've been playing Railgrade. It's a game that's been out a little while on Switch and Epic Games Store. But has been sort of said, oh, it's going to come to Steam one day, etc., etc., etc. Now, when I've got a Steam Deck, and as much as I can go, yeah, I can emulate Switch, or I could sort of get Epic Games running, I don't always like jumping through those extra hoops. And if I know the game's going to come to Steam, I'd rather wait and get it naturally, unless it's like Tetris, and I'll just get it everywhere. I don't care. So I've been waiting for this one, and I've had to be good. But basically, what Railgrade is, and this, just like very quickly, this one is a puzzle game that's kind of resource management and automation as well. So you go in, you get a level, and you move along levels, and you get scores for each level you do in terms of how quick it takes to complete. And you might get a task that says, right, you've got to supply the city with energy. To supply the city with energy, you've got to get crude oil, take the crude oil to a plant, and then take the energy that's created at the plant to the city. Now, to create the energy, you need workers that come from the city, and the city needs to grow to give you enough workers to be able to do that, or to make it go faster. And you have a budget, so the city might go, right, well, we need water. So you supply water to the city via trains. Everything's done via trains, by the way. This is why it's called Railgrade. So you'll build a track that takes water to the city to help improve the population, to give you the option of more workers available. You need to then put workers in the plant that creates the energy. And the more workers you've got, the faster they can create energy. And you use a train track to take the energy to the city, or to an export point, or something like that. And then you've got your crude oil, and you have to take your crude oil to the plant, and basically you can then, like, via tracks, and what you essentially get is they can also use water to get catalyst. So you might create a track from the water stations or water pumps to the crude oil place, and that'll give it a catalyst to produce faster. And then you get better trays to take it. And basically the idea is to automate the whole process, and get it done as quickly as you can. So literally, the second you get your first train running, you're on a time limit. And this is your only point of reference, is how quick can you do it. But what this game's really good at, and what I really like with these, I like being able to take my time to plan and stuff like that. You can basically play to your heart's content, lay down all your rail station, all your rail lines and tracks, and then stations to and from, and the timer doesn't start. The timer only starts when you put down your first train, and then it starts ticking down. And that's how you get graded in it. And basically, yeah, you need to then go, right, it takes time to build the city up. To get the extra workers, it then takes time to start producing oil, to then build that oil. But you need to get the workers, to get the catalyst, to get the things to build it up, and it's just layers like that. Like on each and every level gets more and more convoluted, but in a really good way. So every level is self-contained, absolutely 100% self-contained, and yeah, I'm absolutely adoring it. I'm a couple of hours in. Maybe about halfway through. It's like 50 levels to it. And they're promising a sandbox mode at some point down the line. But oh god, I'm all for this. Someone who gets plays resource management, gets about 2/3 of the way through, and then gets bored, and wants to start again. Level based like this, yeah, this is my jam. This is absolutely outstanding.
Nice. All right, good stuff. Yeah, that's kind of a one of those. It might as well not exist if it's on just Epic for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you found that. That's your jam.
I know it's probably not your sort of game either. You're not big on the resource management type things, are you? It's but yeah, it's one of those where it's like you go listen to someone talk to something where you just go, I've got no interest in this game, but you hear someone get excited about it, you're just like, I don't get it, but good for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, it's for the audience as well. You want people to discover these things if they're into it.
Yeah, it absolutely nails it. Now, some people have complained about it, and I have checked the discussions because there's no sandbox mode and it is completely level based. I get why people want something that expands constantly over time, but there's games out there that does it, and they said if it does well enough, there'll be a sandbox mode and it's on their roadmap. But yeah, everything about this, I am all in. If they expand on it, great. If they don't, and I'm done in 50 levels, do you know what? Great. I don't care because I'm enjoying what I'm getting out of it, and yeah, it's brilliant.
Sweet.
So I know you've only got 2. I've got 4, and that was my quick one. I do apologise, but I will bring this next one down, and then we'll move on to your next one.
Righto.
Because we're keeping the train theme, Stu.
Ooh, go on.
We are. But do you know when you've done all your resource management, you built your train lines and everything like that, and you're like, oh, I've done all that bit now. What do I want to go and do? You know what you want to go and do. You want to go and solve a crime on a train, Stu.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Not like go and have a lie down and a cup of coffee. No.
You want to go and solve a crime. You want a fancy moustache.
Yep.
Speak with a bit of a French accent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Maybe be in a novel by a famous author.
Possibly.
I've been playing Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express.
Ooh.
Now, I touched on this with you briefly last week. I can't remember if we've done it on air or off air. And I basically said, this is a Telltale game, but good.
It was off air.
Yes, good, because people might have pushed back on it. But this is what this is. It's, for me, it's the Agatha Christie stuff is timeless. Absolutely timeless. And to see it's been remade and redone and everything countless times. And Murder on the Orient Express is probably her most famous story, I would say.
Yeah,
I don't think that's controversial to say.
No. Either that or 10 Little Whatevers,
Well, there you go. The fact you said 10 Little Whatevers. So it's Murder on the Orient Express. And Hercule Poirot, probably her most famous literary character as well. But this is set in modern day. So you've got the advantage of people having like mobile phones and things like that, but it's not futuristic. It's not like oh look, we brought it into the future. It hasn't gone down that. It's still very classic looking, and it's got this really cool hand drawn 3D aesthetic of the Telltale games, which I really like. You can definitely tell it's got an aesthetic rather than trying to go for photorealism. You move around freely in the world, but it's also point and click, and you do have to solve crimes. You go and talk to people, you get reads on them, you go and investigate areas, you look for clues, and then when it's time to sort of like make accusations or solve a crime, you get this timeline type thing where you have to put together, how did this happen and in what order? And it'll go, yep, that's right. Okay, we can now use that, and it might build another thing to create another timeline thing that you can then go and present to someone else. And it's constantly expanding out like that. And it's kind of got where I'm at it at the moment, it's kind of got 2 mysteries in one going on. But I'm absolutely drawn in. It's nailed like a modern day Agatha Christie setting so well. That at no point do I think, I'm playing just a really poor video game take on this. I feel like I'm watching a decent adaptation, or playing a really good adaptation of a classic novel. Like the tools for looking at items that you get in like the Spider-Mans and things like that, where you click on something and then you drag it around, you can turn it inside out, and etc. That's there, but it allows you to focus on what are you actually looking for. It doesn't assume you as a player is going to go and look for the tiniest little scratch on a murder weapon, because you might not be able to see it because it's a video game. And it depends on what screen you're looking at. So it kind of goes, right, if you pick this thing up and just turn it to the right area, we'll tell you, yeah, that's what you would have seen if you're Hercule Poirot, because your character's Hercule Poirot, not an idiot, knows what they're doing. I've played games like Sherlock Holmes games before, where you're kind of looking around and you've got Sherlock Holmes bumbling around looking for a most obvious clue because you can't quite click the right pixel. So it's gone, let's get rid of that shit. You're playing Hercule Poirot. He knows what he's doing. You just give us the right sort of area. We'll go, yep, that was the clue you was looking for. We'll make it so that if there's something to read, we'll give you the information you need to gather from this stuff you need to read. Some might find it simplistic. I think what it does, it gets rid of making your character look like a bumbling idiot, which is always a good thing when you're playing a world-renowned detective. But, yeah, it's superb so far. Really good murder mystery. And I think, as I said to you, it's a Telltale game that's done how Telltale should make games, better than they've ever done it, in my opinion. Oh. Others might disagree, but yeah, it's the best Telltale game that's not actually a Telltale game.
Right. Well, one question that you probably don't actually know the answer to, but I'm assuming that they've changed the ending, like who the perpetrators are, because otherwise you could just go, well, I know who it is from the book and the film, and I can just work towards that. Do you know, or do you not know? I assume you don't know.
I do not know yet. Yeah. I do not know yet.
Fair enough. Be interesting to find out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know, because I've seen adaptations of Murder in the Orient Express and it has been changed up, and because you could watch a TV series based on it or a film based on it, and like you could watch it and go, well, there's no point watching it. I mean, it could end up going to a logical conclusion. But there's other stories intertwined in there. So this is what I think they've done really, really well. They've intertwined other stories in there. So you're not just going, oh, here's the plot of Murder on the Orient Express. Well, I think if that was the case and they'd just gone, here's the book again, then you know what? Yeah, it might have been a bit tedious, but there's other things in there. And by the way, I've just got to really point out, one of the best onboarding tutorials I think I've ever played in a video game, because it's pure tutorial, but it feels pure game as well. It doesn't over-explain things for you. It introduces you to things, but has a really good self-contained story about finding a missing ticket. Which is just done really, really well, and introduces a few of the mechanics, but then leads you nicely into the game, which I have to say, that is absolutely brilliant. Well done to the developers, because again, tutorials can suck, but they've absolutely nailed this one.
Nice.
Which is surprising, because it's from Microids who have published this, and they're usually known for I don't think I'm being overly mean, for making fairly decent but janky published games. This is brilliant, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Also, someone said it's got outdated graphics on a review. It's not outdated graphics, behave. I don't know what people expect these days. An art style is not outdated graphics.
No. It looks like
really poor photorealism is outdated graphics.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, it looks like Dishonored, that style, to me.
Yes. Yeah, almost like a Dishonored Telltale game. Yes.
There we go. There's your box quote.
There's your box quote. Dishonored Telltale game. They were Dishonored, weren't they, Telltale, at one point?
Yeah.
I want about just how they acted and treated their staff. But anyway, Moving on, Stu, what have you been playing again?
Well, I've been playing a corker again. So, funnily enough, Sprawl I haven't played for a while. I completed it about 3 weeks ago, but I had to speak about it. I haven't had the chance yet. And I've been playing this one on and off. But what I've actually been playing every night is Hi-Fi Rush. But we've already talked about that, so I don't want to go into it too much. But it is now definitely going on my Games of the Year list because it's really transformed itself for me. So I'll talk about that towards the end of the year, which is really not that far away. But what I've been playing...
Start really thinking, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. It's gone so fast as well. But what I have been playing when I get the opportunity, which isn't that often, as you'll soon understand why, is Samba de Amigo Virtual Party. Yeah, that's right, Virtual Party. The reason I'm confused is because the other versions that are released that are almost identical, except not in VR, are called Party Central. Anyway, so it's that game, but in VR for the Quest. And it's an absolute corker. So I know that it's had a kind of mixed reception on the Switch. I think partly because of the way the controls work, but partly because of the way it plays, and partly because of the track lists. For my money, I'm enjoying the tracks. I think there's a good mix of like crappy covers of famous songs and some original tracks and some Sega tracks and some not lesser but older perhaps pop songs and stuff like from like 10 years ago or whatever. And I don't mind. I'm enjoying them, but obviously the gameplay is where it's at, and it really sings for me. So I think what the difference is with the VR game. There's a couple of things. One, the things that you have to shake your maracas at come into the screen rather than obviously from the center out like they do in the static 2D game. So that's kind of more Beat Saber-y, and as we know, Beat Saber's an absolute goat. So it's if you like Beat Saber, you're kind of going to like anything that does similar. But it's distinct from it because the cadence, the number of times you have to do things like shake, like rattle your maracas. There's no way of saying that without it sounding funny.
Do you have to roll them?
Roll them. You
said shake and rattle, so I couldn't resist. So.
Gotcha. Yes, yeah, you kind of do. Yeah, you kind of do, because there's the only kind of thing that you don't do with them is like turn the thing in your hand, as in your palm. Basically anything that you think you can do with a maraca. No, not that, Brad. I don't know where your brain's going. You do it.
I actually wasn't for once.
But it's got that kind of thing, like classic. Put them where the markers are appearing on the screen. But it's also got gesture things that you have to do, like poses, like you do in the classic game. So it's got that. So you got that movement. It's also got occasionally like a question mark bubble will appear that you have to hit, and then it will bring up a mini game. So you have to do like classic Sega style mini game, not actual classic Sega mini games, but classic style. So like I won't go into what they are. Have a look on Google if you're interested. Have a look on YouTube. Lots of little mini games that pop up. Lots of variety in those. And what's best is it's got obviously difficulty levels. When you've got the hang of it, go straight into playing the harder difficulty levels, because it really mixes up all of the kind of the regular style kind of shakes and poses and stuff with all of the different mini games and all the kind of different actions you have to do and the poses and all that caper. It mixes them up really, really fast. And makes a ton of variety and gives you a proper workout. And I'm just really enjoying it. I think it's excellent. It's a really good, really well-made, solid, polished, sort of professional's the wrong word, but like a really, really good version of these style of games. And you feel like there are a lot of them around, but there aren't that many that are as precise and as quite as enjoyable as this. So it's amongst the really good ones at the moment for me, I'd say. So if you like Beat Saber, if you like Pistol Whip, if you like any of those kinds of rhythm games in VR, it's probably pretty much a must buy.
Is it official Sega?
Yes.
It is, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was like, because I know you like you're quite big on fan-made games and stuff like that as well. So I wasn't. I made it sound like really, oh god, you're into fan-made games. I didn't mean it like that. Fan-made games are brilliant. or people will mod older titles to work in VR, which again I think is absolutely brilliant. But it's an official Sega Samba de Amigo in VR.
It is, and if you remember, I played that one of Space Channel 5 about a year ago.
Yes,
you gave me the code for, and that was okay, but it wasn't amazing by any stretch. And that was done by Sega as well. But this is like completely different. This is, I'd say, it's getting up there with the Sega of old. You could imagine this being in an arcade back in the 90s. Obviously graphics and VR aside, you really can. It's got that level of old Sega polish to it. Really, really good.
Excellent. Yeah, Sega are on the up at the moment. And never really got into. I'm not good with rhythm games, so I never really got into Samba de Amigo in terms of playing it properly. But it was fun with the maracas. I've got to admit, I did love shaking my maracas about.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Sticking with Sega then. I've been playing a Sega published game. Talking about being on the roll. Now, this will be a quick one because I'm hoping we can maybe talk a bit more about it next week because I gave you a code for this one as well, Stu.
You did.
And that is from Amplitude Studios. You went, I did. You're so confident with that. Because what you could do if I turn around and went, now I've been playing the You Like a Dragon. What would you do, Stu? Eh?
Oh, I don't know what I'd do.
You're a bit too confident there.
Yeah, I guess I was.
Back in your box.
Okay.
I've been playing EndlessDungeon, which is the quasi-sequel to Dungeon of the Endless, which is a quasi-sequel to Endless Space and Endless something or other, like the Endless series of... I don't even know what they are. They're like 4K games, I think, originally. And then Dungeon of the Endless is a roguelike tactical room-to-room sweeper. I don't know. I don't know how to describe these games. Strategy games, and I didn't realise Endless was such a endless thing. There's like so many genres within it, and so many settings. Anyway, this is EndlessDungeon, which is the quasi sequel to the best of the Endless games, in my opinion. Where, like the first game, you go from room to room on a derelict space station, sort of type thing. I won't ruin the story for anyone. And you have to sort of, as you get a central bot or central item to help you escape. You've got to protect it. If it dies, you die. If you die, you die. And you have to start again. And they're randomly generated levels. That's all the same. But instead of being, not even turn-based, but instead of being a slower based thing where you go from room to room, you can really have time to scope everything out and you kind of plan. This is a top-down twin-stick shooter when things go crazy. So you still go room to room. You still have to produce your resources and put down your turrets because it's a tower defense game in places as well. You still have to put all this down and use strategy to work out what's the best way to get my crystal bot from where it starts to the escape room, the escape door to then start the next level. And where's best to put my turret? Can I put the right turrets? Do I even need to put these turrets, etc., etc.? Or do I want to upgrade my characters or my party or this and that or save my resources? You still got to do all that. But when a wave starts to try and attack you, it just turns into a full-on twin-stick shooter. And it's just brilliant. I've played a couple of hours so far. I suck at it. I can't really talk on the co-op side of it, which hopefully this is why I said maybe we'll talk about it further another week. But I've got to shout it out because this has been one of my most eagerly anticipated games of the year. I did touch the beta briefly, but I loved the first one, and I didn't think it got enough love. This one is out as of listening, just come out properly, and it is outstanding in every single way in terms of the pure gameplay loop. But I absolutely find it brilliant. Now, that being said, just a couple of accessibility things that I will feed back, and hope others feed back to them as well. It's a bit dark in places. It could do with another couple of options to brighten it a little bit more, because I found it very difficult to see certain things at times. I think the dark rooms that there are there where nothing works have to be dark. But some of the normal levels are a little bit dark for me, or a bit too red. And they could do with something there that allows me as a user to boost it a bit more. The other thing is the UI, the scaling option needs untethering. It needs to go beyond the 100%. And even if they say, oh, this might break the layout, because some of the, like, you go up to like a turret or something, or you go up to an information bit, you press A to bring up the information, and it's tiny, so I have to use the Steam Deck's magnification. But because you've got to press A to bring up the information, allow me to make that bigger. Allow me to scale that much bigger so it takes up the whole screen or something. Or give me an option, because at the moment it's almost unreadable in places, and I'm guessing, which is a shame. You do get to learn them, so you like some of it is you go up to a nest, and you'll see anything that comes out of here is susceptible to fire but strong against acid. So you do get to learn what the colours mean, but I really struggled to see what that was. And again, there is accessibility options on there that make things, well, subtitle size is one. They need to extend that to the UI, and it's a shame that there is UI scaling, but I don't think it's there for an accessibility point of view. I think it's there for those who are playing on different size monitors, but they've not taken the Steam Deck into consideration, which again is a shame, because other than that, it runs bloody perfectly on Steam Deck. That's it. I don't want to finish this week on a negative, because I am addicted to this thing. It is brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that a go when I can fit it in. I wonder when I'm going to find the time, though. You know what I mean?
Yes. So, but I wanted to cover it now, the single player stuff, which is absolutely outstanding. I don't know where it goes because I'm rubbish at it, and I've completed like a couple of floors in a couple of hours. I'll probably talk about this again down the line, and hopefully a little bit further down the line, if we can co-op it, me and yourself, we can then report back on that as well.
Indeed.
By the way, just point out, the AI in this, really solid. I've not once had to go, oh, bloody AI is ruining this run for me. If anything, I ruined the run for the AI. So, well done. They've nailed that side of it. Just sort that UI out a bit. Yeah, a little bit on the user interface.
Very cool.
But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Up there for being one of my games of the year, if it carries on where I'm going with it. So
nice. Excellent stuff.
Now, finally from me, it's a game I've had for just over a week now. That is one of my most eagerly, ethics my most, you know me, Stu, I get excited about upcoming games, can't help it. But City Skylines 2. Which, yeah, I loved City Skylines. It was one of my favourite clips of when I was trying to do Let's Plays back in my GameStyle days. I was doing it with Moose Grinder, Steve, who used to write for us. Showing off City Skylines 2, and I was showing how good it is. And then he was just playing it. And I'd be playing it for a couple of hours. We started a new city. I was like, oh, it don't work. Why is it not working? I don't know why it's not working. And I built a one-way road going the wrong way, and it just made stop my entire city working. So we had half an hour of this like stream of me just going, I don't know what's wrong with it. Oh, I think I've broken it. I don't know if I broke, and I just put a road in the wrong way. But anyway, I love City Skylines. I love building stuff. I very rarely do the game if there's like game inside of it where you get your missions and everything. I just go straight into sandbox it, let me build a city. But for this one, obviously, because it's new, I could be going through the gameplay side of it. And if you've played any kind of Sim City or anything like that, City Skylines, Transport Manager, anything like that, you build roads, you connect those roads, you zone different industries, so like industry, commercial, residential, you zone those areas, you link them up with various different resources, you build, you grow, you start off with village, you end up with massive sprawling cities, away you go. The basic concept is all there. But what City Skylines 2 has done is really improve how that works. So the original Cities was brilliant, but it had an annoying thing where you had to generate your electric, and then you had to bring your electric in using electric lines, and then you had to sort of like hope that houses moved in close enough to each other to help the electric jump from area to area. You had to manage like all your water pipes yourself, and what everyone started doing was you just kind of go, right, water, I'll just put them on the roads, but that's what everyone did. So what they've done for this version is really good. You can produce your own electric, use like a coal power plant or stuff like that, or wind turbines as you did in the old game. But what happens now is all your electric is basically under the ground along your road. So you build a road, you've got an electric connection. Absolutely brilliant, really well done. Same with water. You basically everything flows along the streets. Underneath, obviously, along the streets. Otherwise, you live in Venice. You don't want to live in Venice. That's not a very good city building. But yeah, everything flows in pipes under the streets, as it does in real life. And then the only thing you need to do is, if you've got to take it out to the water, you then drag basically one pipe out to a water intake, another pipe out to a water outgoing sewage thing, treatment plant, whatever, and yeah, it's all then managed for you. Doesn't go through highways, so you do need to maybe then do like connections from roads to highways, and like through the highways to the other city or the other town or whatever. Realistic in that point of view, but it's really, really good and gets you rid of some of the annoying micromanaging. The cities grow a lot more realistically. And the citizens you have seem to have a lot more personality to them, to the point where you can literally follow a citizen's day-to-day life, and they'll do it on their chirper, which is really weird because now chirper's better than Twitter. So their fake social media thing is better than real social media. So there you go. But you can follow their lives properly, and they grow, they learn, they go to work, they come home, they like you. There's almost like you can find like little mini stories going on in your world if you really wanted to, which is really nice. The buildings grow in a much more natural way. So if you was to build a corner plot, eventually it might grow and actually build an actual corner building between roads, and like really big office and things like that. And everything just looks nicer and plays nicer. And overall, at a starting point, so here's an issue you get with something like a Cities game. You know this is going to get absolutely modded to buggery. And they will improve it. And there's lots of great things they've taken from the last game and put in. Some things are still missing that the community will end up building on. And I don't think Colossal Order are lazy with this. I think that's very harsh on them. But they know the community are going to go and do stuff. And I think they've gone, we haven't got to worry about that. Nothing major, just little things that are so minor I can't even think what they are right now. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm still getting to grips with it. Everything's there. I'm getting used to some of the new tools, the traffic management, the road management. You know, I've got to wait till I can get really deep into the game. But really, really enjoying it. The only issue I've got at the moment is it sucks on Steam Deck. It runs at like a frame a second. It doesn't like the Steam Deck at all. It's very CPU bound. And it's not been optimized yet because I've been playing like not early access version but a pre-release version, and they have been gradually improving it, and they've given us reviewers tips on what we can do to get better performance out of it. But that again, the original game had issues like that. This is going to have issues with that. It's one of those games where you almost go, right, I accept this just to get it out and let the community do what they've got to do, because I'm excited for what the community will do with this. I'm not excited for what Colossal Order will do with this. I'm excited for what the community will do, and that for me is more important than what Colossal Order do. So I'm glad they've got it out. It's not been released as early access, so it is a feature complete game. But if you've played this or you've played any of their games or anything like that, you know it's going to improve over time. You know it's going to have features added to it. This is the much better starting point than the original game was. Doesn't run on Steam Deck, but to be honest, the original Cities, I tried playing that on Switch, and that was a god-awful experience. I tried playing it on console. That was a god-awful experience. The only way to really to play these games is on a fully-fledged PC. And this continues that, but I'm really, really, really enjoying it, and I can't wait to get further into it.
Nice. Yeah, excellent. That's another one that's not for me, but it's one of those years where there's all sorts of cracking stuff come out. It's been a really pretty classic year for releases, and there's still a couple of big ones left. So, yeah, not bad at all, really. Yeah.
And we're not even adding new Tetris.
No, I know. Crazy.
I might have to put something else at the top of my list this year.
Yeah, for once.
Although I did find a Tetris Lite game that I could talk about, not today, but maybe next week.
God.
That's, yeah, do you know what? Not bad. It's not
Good.
bad. It's not Tetris, but it's not bad. But I'm being harassed because I've got to leave. Stu.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to preamble it. I'm just going to shut up now.
I know. So yes, as usual, follow us on all the socials. Check out our content on the website. And as usual, we shall see you next week. Stay safe and stay sane.